to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly, truly, beloveds, on your own terms, in your own narrative. And it's not even the Babylon narrative that you have to worry about, but the broken narrative of those that we keep, our nearest and dearest, as society likes to put it, those that we keep around us, really keeping us, protecting our energies and keeping such a focus on what we know life is about. Because now it's like so many people want to project what they think life is about, and most of them are totally wrong. But those are stories for other days. Special shout out to our Patreon family. We appreciate, love you so much. Thank you so much for supporting us on that platform and enabling us to continue to bring, the relevant awakening news to our people. And thanks to everyone that has subscribed. Go ahead and like, beloveds, so that we can, battle out with those YouTube algorithms. Now, I talked about this, I think, last year, where Barbados has actually inched closer towards becoming a republic and dumping the Queen, the Queen of England as their head of state. It's finally happening, beloveds. And I actually didn't know that the Queen was the head of state of I think it's 12 or some crazy number, islands in the Caribbean, which just shows you it's like colonialism is still very prevalent. But from now, on their Independence Day, on November 3rd, which I was wondering, what independence did you have if the Queen is still your head of state? Anyway, maybe someone can explain to me in the comments. But, the Barbados is actually going to ditch the Queen of England as its decades-old head of state. And they will also now become an independent nation. They will actually move from an independent nation to a fully fledged republic with their own head of state. The Queen will then cease to be the island's official head of state. Now, she's not taking this well, beloveds, because this is creating a massive domino effect across the islands. So what happened is that the Queen was actually represented by someone called Dame Sandra Mason, who I think is a Barbadian. I don't even know. But she will now move from Governor General, which was basically her title as a Queen's representative, to become the country's first ceremonial president. No real power. She won't have any power, beloveds, long story short. And the governing Barbados Labour Party, they announced that Dame Sandra, she was actually, it says here, she was a former leading judge. She had agreed to become the first titular head of state when the constitutional change is made, meaning that she would serve alongside the island's first woman prime minister, Mia Mottley, who has really been behind this push. Many didn't think this would happen, but it's actually finally going to take place. And this is absolutely massive, and they were talking about how, both of them, beloved. So the head of state is going to be a woman, and the first prime minister. The first president is a woman, the first prime minister is a woman. And there's so much I could say to that. I don't want to be the devil's advocate. Let's just celebrate for today. So she said, that this is going to be a huge, a huge step in the country kind of identifying, moving towards having its own identity, etc., etc. And this is huge, beloveds. And the reason I even bring this story to you is not because Barbados is actually fully going around, fully going on with this, which is absolutely amazing. And it's, they've been regarded as Little Britain or Bimshire for so long. And it's a country where Britain left its most its most indelible, that's what this article says, footprint, and where hundreds of thousands of British tourists make it clear that they feel most at home outside of the divided kingdom. So this is a massive massive blow to the Queen of England. Massive, that even Barbados would be the first nation to leave. Maybe thought it would be Jamaica or whatever. But the reason I even bring this to your attention, beloveds, is because it has created a domino effect where we're seeing Independence 2.0 taking place across the Caribbean just in time. And I know I've received so many emails from my Caribbean brothers and sisters about everything that's going on as many fight the New World Order agenda. There was a massive demonstration in Jamaica the other day, and there's been a lot going on. Of course, we can't ignore the fact that there are a lot of puppet presidents, and the fact that Babylon's greatest trick in their arsenal is to always hijack your next step. So if you're going for independence, they'll kind of hijack it and get people to, actors to pretend like it's your idea, and they'll make sure that they get their people in there. But you see, what we don't really are not fully aware of, don't recognize, is the spiritual momentum behind such a thing. Whether they put puppets in, whether they don't put puppets in, whether they put their people in, it doesn't matter, because nothing can stop an idea whose time has come, and nothing can stop the spirit of the ancestors when they are on the move. And this is what has actually, is actually getting the Queen of England, doesn't even deserve that title, a bit uneasy, because Caribbean nations are actually tipped to be leaving behind the Queen following Barbados' departure in what is looking like, a massive domino effect. And they say the move has actually sparked a domino effect among other Caribbean nations left in the Commonwealth realms, where the Queen remains its head of state. So they said, these include, so the countries that are still under this are Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. So those are the countries that are still kind of have the Queen as their head of state. But, they are all following what Prime Minister, Mia Mottley said. She was like, Barbados wants to fully leave our colonial past behind. This is the ultimate statement of confidence in who we are and what we are capable of achieving. So once, they ditched the Queen on the 1st of England, Jamaica's opposition leader said they were pursuing a similar move. And they said the Queen's removal as head of state in the country was as fundamental to their identity as their nationhood. And he said, I don't think that one could argue that we are fully independent when our head of state is somebody who lives on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean and isn't even Jamaican. Things are going on, beloveds. Things are going on. Let me take a short break here. When we come back, I'll go into some of the other countries that are also pushing to ditch the Queen. We'll be right back. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa. Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. Massive, massive news coming out of the Caribbean, beloveds. This is another indicator of the seasons and times that we are living in. Absolutely incredible seasons and times, unprecedented. As I keep saying, we are in the best of times as much as we are in the worst of times. Or we can even say back to front, we're in the worst of times as much as we're in the best of times. And it all depends on what narrative you are focusing on. Make sure you're focusing on a narrative that is uplifting your heart and is accurate to our story, our redemption, our revival, our restoration. Don't focus too much on those that are falling, because that is not part of your narrative, beloveds. But those are stories for other days. So massive. Barbados, beloveds. Little Britain is the first to ditch the Queen in the Caribbean and demand to be a full republic. And so now we saw, there's a lot of interest also from Jamaica, and it's not just Jamaica that is looking into it. Actually, Jamaican Governor General Patrick Allen had actually proposed a constitutional amendment which set out to undo the monarchy's influence in the country. And imagine, this is why I say we were never free. Because how do you become an independent state, but yet your colonial ruler is still your head of state? How does that happen? And we're convinced of this. This is the narratives we believe that don't even make sense. And then we live under false pretense, like we're free when we're not. We've just shifted into another form of slavery. Because there shouldn't have been, Barbados can't really say they're celebrating 55 years of independence. From what? When you're still not fully free. And I think any nation that is part of the Commonwealth needs to really look at it. So the governor, this Patrick Allen, he said, there is, as I understand it, bipartisan support on the matter of removing the Queen as our head of state in Jamaica, to having a Jamaican person as our head of state through a non-executive presidency within the Commonwealth. You see, this is why, on some level, I also feel like the process is being hijacked because they know what time it is. So you see the Commonwealth, we're still going to be part of the Commonwealth. And it's just like we're doing it slowly. So we're not going to totally ditch and become totally independent because we don't have the kahunas to do that. And we don't want to upset the master. So we'll just take a small step back. Okay, we're ditching you as head of state, but we'll still be part of the Commonwealth. But what we need to do is take all the steps back, beloveds, and be like, we ain't part of the Commonwealth. We ain't part of the frickin', the Queen of England ain't our head of state anymore. We're just leaving the Babylon system alone. And that's why, to some extent, I really do believe that some of these, that this process may have been hijacked by the puppets of the powers that be. Let me know what you think in the comments below, because I'm not from the Caribbean, but I know I've been getting so many emails from you guys to talk about this, which is awesome, and share this news, with our family, which is absolutely amazing. So that's huge for Jamaica. They also say that St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are also looking into, they're also considering and looking into what constitutional amendments they would need to make to remove the Queen as their head of state. However, St. Vincentians, or however you say that, they actually defeated a proposal for the nation to become a republic back in 2009. And what happens with these referendums or whatever it is you have to wait a number of years before you can bring it back to the table. And, at the time, the prime minister then, called Ralph Gonzalez, he had actually said he hoped the decision would grow a nationalist, homegrown constitution, but we didn't see that happen. And so far, it's only Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Dominica that have turned to republicanism and ditched their former colonizers. Guyana actually was the first in 1970. A lot of people don't know about Guyana, one of the most revolutionary nations, beloveds, in terms of melanated nations. And when, was it Idi Amin, when he kicked out the Indians, a lot of Guyanese and many professionals from the diaspora actually went to Uganda and took up a lot of the different positions that the Indians had been holding. I should definitely do a story on that. So Guyana did that in 1970, 4 years after their independence. That's how it should have happened. In a way, there's nothing to celebrate because this is 55 years later is when they're even considering this. But anyway, Trinidad and Tobago removed the Queen as head of state in 1976, and the Dominica did it in 1978. Kudos to them. For real, for real. But, I guess they always say better late than never. Although I really feel this is the spirit of this season and this time. And even if Babylon hijacks the process and tries to make it through their parliaments and through their government systems and through their matrix, nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. Chuka pamoja.